And we are following massive breaking news in the NFL where the Seattle Seahawks and Broncos have agreed to a massive blockbuster trade, sending Russell Wilson to Denver. That has been confirmed by our NFL insider Jason La Canfora. In return, Seattle reportedly getting multiple first-round picks along with additional picks and players. According to ESPN, Drew Lock is involved in this trade as well. This ends a successful 10-year run for Wilson with the team that drafted him 10 years ago. That includes 9 Pro Bowls, 2 NFC championships, and 1 Super Bowl title. Let's welcome in our NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. We thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be the news of the day. Boy, were we wrong, JJ. What do you know about this? What can you tell us?
It's a big one. It is a big one. This does not happen every single day, every single year in the NFL. Russell Wilson, I can tell you this. The Washington Commanders made what I was told to be a very attractive trade offer for Russell Wilson, dating back to around the time of the Combine. Seattle Seahawks rebuffed that offer. I'm not sure if the offer wasn't good enough. I still don't have the details of what exactly that offer was, or if Russell Wilson ultimately didn't want to go play for the Washington Commanders and go back home to the Virginia area. However, the Denver Broncos, in a very difficult division out there in the AFC West, with some very good wide receivers and some very good options and a natural home field advantage playing in the altitude out there, this has obviously Russell Wilson has had his eye on this. I had been told even after Washington had put that offer in for Wilson and that they were rebuffed, that there was still a chance that he would be moved from Seattle. I know folks didn't think that it could happen. I've been told that it certainly could happen. According to ESPN reporting, this has been in the works there with the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks for about the past 2 weeks or so. And so everything that folks in Seattle said, yeah, we love Russell, we're not trading him, well, that was all hooey, of course, and we know that now. And so Russell Wilson, and as big a trade as you see in the NFL, going to the Denver Broncos.
According to Jason La Canfora tweeting out just a few minutes ago, and with this, the Russell Wilson era begins in Denver. Seahawks will get at least 2 first-round picks, I'm told, in a package of players. Multiple NFL execs say they heard Seattle was seeking Bradley Chubb in that deal as well. Just talk about, I guess we'll start with Denver, what this means for Denver and getting Russell Wilson. Given what we've seen from him over the past year, of course, he dealt with the injury, never seemed 100% after that. What do you think things look like with him now in Denver?
Yeah, that's a little bit of the gamble, right, Amanda? You going to get the Russell Wilson that we had seen for a decade in the NFL before that mallet finger injury? Or are you going to get the Russell Wilson that we saw in really the second half of one season? The Denver Broncos are very willing to bet that they're going to get the guy who had been that dude for a decade. And frankly, I think that that's a fair thing to believe. I think we all understand that Russell Wilson came back a little bit too early from that finger injury. And I know he exercised his thumb for 25 hours a day, but he still came back too early there, and the Seahawks suffered for that. But this guy, the consummate winner and professional there in Seattle, now moving to the Denver Broncos, where they have a running game with young running back Javonte Williams, and they say they want Melvin Gordon back. They have a nice offensive line. You look at the pieces that they have out there that he'd be throwing to, with Patrick at tight end, with Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver, among many others, and then a defense that under Vic Fangio played pretty well last year. They just needed a quarterback, and that's something that former head coach Vic Fangio talked at length about, that you're just not going to compete in the NFL, and certainly not in that AFC West with Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Derek Carr without a quarterback. And so Russell Wilson goes from one of the toughest divisions in football, the NFC West, to, again, one of the toughest divisions in football, the AFC West. He's not afraid of that. It's been a tough road to get to the postseason, yet he's done it for the overwhelming majority of his career.
I believe we have a full screen with some contract deals, what Russ had remaining on his salary there. You see for 2022, $19 million, $5 million roster bonus. 2023, $22 million, also the $5 million there in roster bonus as well. What does this mean for his contract moving forward? What do you think we're going to see with the numbers here moving?
Well, you make a trade for Russell Wilson and you give up some of your future, obviously, in the form of a couple of first-round draft picks. Drew Lock, you threw in there, maybe another player. We're still waiting to see the compensation. No matter what, you're going to give up so much for Russell Wilson. You're not just going to have him under contract for this season and next season and then just let him out of your sight. Won't it all be surprised to see his contract at some point get ripped up and he gets offered an extension? I don't know if it's going to be similar to, Aaron Rodgers or what, but obviously anytime you make a trade like this, a blockbuster deal, the word we keep repeating, and you give up so much of your future, you make sure that when you have that deal in place, that player also understands that he will be under your employ for the foreseeable future. And so that's what I believe the Denver Broncos ultimately will reach with Russell Wilson. If it's not already in place, it very well should be in place, because this is not something, Amanda, where, hey, let's just get into the playoffs and maybe win a wild card game. This is a move to absolutely compete in the AFC. And so they know that they don't need to drag this into the season with Russell Wilson. I would anticipate if and when that deal does get done, it will be $45 million a year, a little bit above that, 48. Are we nearing 50 like the reported Aaron Rodgers deal, which, by the way, at this moment is still not yet done? All that is still to be determined.
What about the Seahawks when it comes to the quarterback position? According to multiple reports, as you mentioned there, Drew Lock is involved in this deal. Do they look elsewhere? What are they going to do this upcoming season?
Yeah, not a problem that they've really had to consider for the past decade, right? But now you consider it, and they have Drew Lock. Okay, he's a quality backup. He's one of the better backups in the NFL if he goes into week one as your number 2. I don't think the Seahawks want him to be their starting quarterback. And so are they going to draft someone, a guy like a Malik Willis, who would probably maybe be there when the Seahawks pick? Or with the first-round picks that you have, do you now sort of spin that into something for Deshaun Watson, a name that we're not really talking about right now, but a league source reached out to me and said, maybe Watson to Seattle. And I said, is that something that you know, or is that something that you're just kind of putting together? And that league source said, putting it together. But when you start to understand, okay, I just talked about Drew Lock being a quality backup who can obviously be a starter in the NFL. If there is a suspension from the NFL on Deshaun Watson, you have the backup who can be the starter for long enough. You also still have Geno Smith, not sure of his contract situation, but you could ink him to another deal if he is an impending free agent. And then you can send those picks that you just sent away, or that you just received, rather, for Russell Wilson in order to secure the future of your franchise if and when you become comfortable enough with that situation, a situation that you may never find comfort with. So I would just say keep an eye out for that. Again, it's speculation, but it's a potential now that Seattle has some ammunition, unlike they really have ever had in the past several years.
And again, we're waiting for all of the details to come down about that ammunition they may have, but including first-round picks. The Broncos right now have or had the 9th pick in the upcoming draft, which is just a little bit more than a month away. JJ, thank you so much. I know we'll be talking to you plenty. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.